I think the topic is very interesting. I think we all in some way or the other are part of GCCs or are interacting with them or are contributing to their growth. And if you are doing so, then you are significantly contributing to India as a nation, because very soon GCCs will be contributing around 2% of India's GDP by 2030, 2032. So that's the statistics. We house more than 50% of global of GCCs across the world in India. 1 in 3 of Fortune 500 companies have their GCCs in India. If you look at the current employment which comes through GCCs, we have around 2 million people, and this will go to around 4.5 million by 2030. So today, from an AI standpoint, I believe the command center of the world is in India. It is no longer in the Silicon Valley, and it is more driven by all the innovation that today is possible in this country, in this city that we are sitting in. So maybe on that note, Prasanna, it would be great to understand. I know you've been 18 years in the firm. You've seen a journey of R&D as a center grow in India. So how do you see this whole aspect of moving from a cost center to an innovation delivery center? And then, of course, would be keen to understand the India play in all of this.
Thank you, Pragati. I've been part of this setup for close to 2 decades now. I think we were one of the earliest GCCs. I don't think we used to call them GCCs at that point of time. It was called Shared Service Center. Then it became Global Service Center. Then it became Global Capability Center. And today the consultants are calling Global Value Creation Centers. So I think whenever they want to change the slide decks, they keep giving different names. But for us, I think internally it's been a journey, whether it's called SSC or GSC, it doesn't matter. But I think we have gone through a journey. So maybe when we started being part of the global organization and delivering to some of these clinical development programs, we started with some very basic tasks. I would say, I think like us, most of the companies, the primary reason was cost arbitrage. That is the reason actually we started. But somewhere down the line, I think our people, I think we were able to pick up the domain knowledge much faster, and that led actually to more complex tasks. Where we are today, I think I was sharing with you previously also, I think in a COVID, in a way, it has changed the whole drug development paradigm. Traditionally, to develop an idea to a molecule and bring it to the market, it takes about 12 to 15 years of time. But COVID time, we showed that it is possible to do it in less than 3 years. So now there is no reason why we should again go back to that 12 to 15 years time. And if we have to do that much faster, so 2 things are very important. I think in any drug development, India plays a huge role. India is part of all the drug development. Any company you take, any major company, I think we are part of that. And the second one is technology. So I'll just say that I think we have got the domain knowledge. Now what we need to bring in is to bring in the technology, technical expertise. And if we combine these two, I think we can create a lot more value to the organizations we serve, and also I think to the patients end of the day.
Sure. So maybe Prasanna, just a follow-on question. I do understand that you have GCCs within Novo Nordisk across the globe. There are a couple of centers. So why India? Why your leadership at HQ would like to bring investments into the India GCC?
If you look across the globe, I think Bangalore, or if you take Bangalore, Chennai and Hyderabad, these 3 cities have highest number of PV professionals anywhere in the world. Maybe the next closest would be Boston. Boston would also be, I think, far behind, and then will be Singapore. Otherwise, the kind of R&D talent that's available in India today, I think it's huge now. I think that has become a big, somebody was saying, we've created that ecosystem now. It's not just, say, in Denmark, only Novo Nordisk is there. But in Bangalore, or if you take Hyderabad, just in one street there is Amgen, there is Novartis, there is Sanofi, there is Medtronic. I mean, the name, the kind of talent you want, it's available here.
So maybe with this, Manish, to you, you are laying a very strong foundation of AI, Gen AI, Gen Tech for your bank, and if that foundation has to work, the data needs to be absolutely right, it needs to be robust, and you are today the custodian of that enterprise data. So how do you manage to bring in a framework which brings the element of responsible AI? So control while giving flexibility. How do you balance that aspect?
It is difficult to manage, but as a AI platform or a sort of professionals who are working in AI, they need to go fast, but there has to be element of responsible AI there. So what things we could do is, first thing is governance first. So you need to understand in what constructs do you work, what kind of compliance apply to the company or the organization that you're working in. So, and this is like a shared responsibility. Second thing is ethics by design. That means, are you able to bring ethics? And it is not a post activity. It is right from the time you have had the idea of building something or about a project. Was ethics processes were involved in that? Did you have the right checkpoints for it? Third thing which is there is the things like fairness, bias, and those kind of aspects also. Have you covered them? The last thing which is there, because I run a platform, do you understand the tech and the implications around it? That, let's say, if you are using a model from Azure, do you know that what kind of risks which are involved in that case? So understanding them, mastering them, and then at the same time, there's a lot of support which is also available. Use that knowledge and then sort of implement in the systems that you are sort of creating. It is a little bit difficult sometimes, and every organization has its own cycle of doing this, but can be mastered and can be done.
Very well said. Thanks, Manish. So now, since we've spoken about data, it's out. I mean, the next question is on to how to secure it. So maybe Suchin, from your side, and when I really think of cyber, at least 5 to 8 years back, I would have never thought that this is a capability which could be, be centralized or being run, remotely. And what I now increasingly see is that your team is growing very fast. You are able to secure BP while having that control tower or command center sitting in India. So just talk us through how these specialized skills or specialized offerings are being enabled by GCCs now.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, as Prasanna also said, like, we have a lot of talent in India. There is absolutely no question about it. Talent is available. It's just that we sometimes, like, we have to do so much of, we go through rounds and rounds of interviews and we get so much of candidates, right? And that's not the story in other places. At BP, what we did is, we started it slow. When we build our GCC over here, I mean, we call it BTC, the Business and Technology Centers. We started off with, as Prasanna was mentioning, with small works, procurement, finance, and so on and so forth. But when we started with cyber, we looked at those tasks which can be easily done, which does not require a person to be sitting right across the table with a customer. Looked at certain areas, and what we started off with is each team, like digital security itself has verticals. There is governance, risk and compliance, there is a threat analytics, there is counter threat teams, there is a SOC, which is a security operations center. So what we did is take at least couple of roles from each of these teams within digital security, build it in India, and then showcase that capability. Once that success was seen, then it was just a matter of time that we bring more and more teams. And of course, we all know there is a cost arbitrage. We can definitely showcase that. And that's how we started, and it has been a success so far.
No, congratulations. I think it's a very niche area, and to pick that up and with that scale, it's tremendous. But then how do you really bring in these services from a whole AI delivery standpoint?
We looked at areas which was easy for us to transition. Those transitions where we call it a concept known as MOC, management of change, where like certain things have been delivered from one country, we will look at the entire end-to-end squads to be established in India. So establishing an end-to-end squad will only showcase the leadership that okay, what we can build it in India and we are successfully able to deliver. So that was one aspect. And then coming back to the core question, defense in depth. Defense in depth has to be put in place. Of course, whether you are doing it in GCC or you have multiple teams across the world, we ensured that we took care of AI and securing the AI from a process, from a people and a technology standpoint.
If we look at the kind of growth which GCCs are expected to have in the country, the employment that would be needed or would be enabled by the GCCs will almost double from maybe 2 million to 4.5. Now that means that our talent availability needs to move at that pace. So Prasanna, maybe starting from you, since you are in a very niche domain and you said talent was the reason why your GCC succeeded. So how about next? Will that trajectory continue considering the amount of talent that we need in the coming years?
I think at least here I can also speak for, I think, pharma R&D in general. So what we have seen is, I think there was a huge uptake, and at some point of time what we are seeing is at least these pharma GCCs in a way they are actually plateauing in terms of headcount, but in terms of responsibilities they are continuing to grow. But I think the future growth, it's a blend of both. I mean, as you said, functional experience we've already got, but how can we build in that? So technological expertise. I think if we can build these two, I think that will create more opportunities. That's sometimes like, I mean, I also keep thinking about how actually to move from this paradigm to the next one. There I think we need to be a bit more careful or mindful, because we cannot take for granted that this journey will continue. And one important thing is like the reason why GCCs have been set up in India is also to limit the headquarter bureaucracy coming here. But unfortunately, sometimes what happens when GCCs they reach certain level of maturity, all the bad habits which were there in the headquarters, they will also start coming here. And they will have a much bigger impact here even compared to say our headquarters. I think the local leadership responsibility is to make sure that we stay nimble, we stay focused on creating value for stakeholders, and how can we avoid that bureaucracy seeping into our this thing. And it's not just say the head of GCC's responsibility, but I think at all level, I think we need to make people acknowledge this fact and be ready to address it. Build the technological capabilities, but at the same time, try to avoid the bureaucracy, headquarters bureaucracy coming here into the local GCC.
Sure. And Prasanna, on this, are you also, as part of your GCC requirements, getting into some affiliations with some educational institute because there's a niche talent? Are you catching them young, or you are hitting the market for experienced pool?
Yeah, here I think what happened initially was like even before the GCC started, the CRO industry, at least in pharma world, CRO industry started in India first. IQVIA, Icon, all those companies. And when GCC started, we actually picked up talents from these CROs. But after a period of time, I think most of the GCCs now they've got good, good rapport with some of the big institutions. From there we pick up the talent, and most of the talent is actually homegrown currently. Because in a way that also helps us to keep our costs low. Second one, it's more efficient to actually grow this talent and give them higher responsibilities.
So now Manish, I mean, again, the whole value versus volume play, and traditionally GCCs have been doers And now suddenly we find ourselves on an innovation hotbed where we are expected to deliver value. And I think many of the GCCs are changing their names to GVCs, Global Value Creators. But the decision making currently is sitting at the HQ. So how are GCCs tackling that whole shift from becoming from a doer to value creator, but the threads being at the HQ? So would something change?
So one thing which I'll say, so these all GCCs have been already creating a lot of value. Otherwise, you will not see huge flood of GCCs which are opening in India. So value is there. We are calling it global value centers now, but they have proved their values very well. Second thing which is there is with AI. Let's say there are so many software engineers in India. Everybody has the ability to become an AI engineer. There is a very small journey that people need to take. So if you see what kind of value these people will be able to generate when they take that shift. And what I have seen a trend, people here are very curious, open to learn new technologies, people are competitive. So value creation is not only in terms of what we do. Everybody who's working on this, as software engineers, they are also trying to innovate, they are trying to see what more they can do, what new tech that they can learn. And that everybody doing some effort, we will see a huge impact at the global level. And second thing which is more important as leaders is, are we able to give meaningful work? So that's also very important, that are we able to bring that right meaningful work which matters to the organization. If we can sort of deliver more on that, then I think these two factors will take us very long way.
I think a great takeaway for me today is we have the seat on the table. Let's make that impact count. And I think that's what we are striving to do every day. And it's, at least we all are proud Indians and we feel immensely hopeful on the GCC journey. So thank you. Thanks everyone for your time today.